This conference will now be recorded.
Hi friends. So in this Azure Databricks master program, so this is our 14th session. In this session, we will see how to read TSV files efficiently in Spark. So TSV is nothing but a tab separated values. Okay. So yesterday, what we have seen CSV files, comma separated values. Here, tab separated values. Next, what we will learn in today's session is we will see by using PySpark how to read these TSV files into DataFrame. So first is we will try to read a single file, and then so that is our step one. Our step two is in a folder we will have a multiple files. So I am going to read all multiple files at a time. I will read all the files. Here the important thing is you should ask one question, friend. When you have a multiple files, whether all the files which you have in the directory should have a same number of columns and the same data type, or can be a different number of columns and different data types, right? So remember very important point. This is very important point is in a directory, if you're trying to read all the files, those all files should have same number of columns and same data type. Okay, clear? That is mandatory thing. Doesn't matter what type of file it is, whether it's a CSV file, it's a TSV, Parquet, whatever it may be. In a folder, if you have multiple files, all those files should have same number of columns. Okay. Next. So this is what we will see. First, we will try to read a single TSV file. Then we will see a directory. Directory is nothing but in a folder we will have a multiple files. So I will try to read all these multiple files. Options while reading CSV and TSV files. So yesterday we have seen all these delimiter, InferSchema, header for CSV. So same options you need to use when you are reading TSV file as well. Delimiter is nothing but a the separation point between the values or data points. Example, when customer is entering his details, as we discussed yesterday, so he is going to give some details. One, maybe he will use some space, then he will give his name, maybe he will use some tab, then he will enter his phone number, something like that. So he is going to maintain some kind of a separator between each and every word. So customer ID is one set of like word, right? So customer name, another set of word. So now I need to differentiate. There is a customer ID, customer name. So for that, in between these two words, I may use, maybe I will use comma, I may use pipe, I may use tab. So depends on real-time data. Mostly people will use comma or pipe or tab. Okay, mostly. So if something new comes, you can able to handle it. Okay, so you just have to say delimiter equal to whatever they are using in that particular file. Next, InferSchema equal to true. Yesterday we have seen this is a inefficient. You should not use InferSchema equal to true. What happens if you use InferSchema equal to true is it is going to read data once again to understand the data type of each column. So if it is going to read entire data once again, it is going to take more time. It is going to take more time for processing. So for reading, it will take more time because in real time, it's not like a very limited number of columns, right? Very limited number of columns or very limited number of rows. It's so very like you will have more than 200 or 250 columns, and you will have a millions and billions of records you will have. So that much data, if you try to read once again, there will be a performance impact. That's why you should not use InferSchema equal to true. Instead of that, you need to define your own schema. You need to explicitly mention what is the data type of each column, and you have to attach to that particular file. Okay, that we have done yesterday for CSV file. Today we are going to do it for TSV. Next, header equal to true. So here also we need to explicitly say is header equal to true. Then only it understands that. So in the file, first row is header. Otherwise, what it will consider is it will consider there is no headers in this file, and your first row also will be pushed into the data, and you will get a default headers. Default headers will start with underscore C0 underscore C1 underscore C2 and so on. So all those things we have seen yesterday for CSV. Today we are going to see same things with TSV files. But what is the difference between CSV and TSV? CSV will have a comma separated between the values, and TSV means tab separation between the values. Next, read TSV files with the user specified schema. As I said, instead of using InferSchema equal to true, I'm going to use the user specified schema. I'm going to use user specified schema. Next, PySpark working with pipe delimited CSV file. So we are going to see in PySpark how you can read the pipe delimited CSV files. And here also you are going to use InferSchema. If you want to use, don't use here also InferSchema. Instead of that, you can define the user specified schema for the pipe delimited CSV files. Okay, so yesterday we completely focused on CSV files. Today we are going to focus on TSV files and pipe delimited CSV files. Okay, so because yesterday we have some base idea, so today we will continue with that particular part. Okay, so any questions as of now here? So I'm just going to give you a few more details, then we will get started with our practicals. Okay, please let me know if you have any questions. I'm just moving on to the next slide. So options while reading CSV and TSV files. So as discussed yesterday, delimiter, it's nothing but a yeah. So one more thing, the delimiter. What is the default delimiter? So comma, remember comma is going to be the delimiter, default delimiter. That's why yesterday, even without mentioning delimiter, we are able to see data properly. Okay, because it's a CSV. CSV is nothing but a comma separated. Even if you're not specifying delimiter, by default it will take comma. That's why what happened is it was showing data properly. Today, if you try without mentioning delimiter, you will not be able to see data properly. The reason is data is separated. All values in a file is separated with tab or pipe, okay, based on the type of file. But default delimiter is comma. In this case, what happens is it is not going to display data properly. We will see that next. Okay, so InferSchema, as we discussed even yesterday. So InferSchema, what it is going to do is it is trying to read a data one more time. By default, it is not going to read data one more time to identify the data type of each column. Unless you changed the default value from false to true, it is not going to read by second time to understand the data type of each column. By default value for InferSchema is false. False means second time it is not going to read the data. Okay, let me go to header. So this option is used to read the first line of CSV files as column names. So first line of the CSV files, it is going to consider as column names if you mention header equal to true. But by default, this header value also false. False means when you read a file without mentioning header equal to true, what is my headers? Your headers is going to be underscore C0, underscore C1, underscore C2, and so on. But where is you, if the file is having really headers, but I'm not mentioning header equal to true, in that case, where is my headers? Your headers will appear inside the data. So that we have seen yesterday, but along with like TSV files and pipe delimited CSV files, we will see today as well. Okay, let's go to syntax for reading TSV file. So doesn't matter whether it's a CSV, TSV, or pipe separated CSV files. You need to use same spark.read.csv and file location name. So here the file extension should be .tsv. That is one change. Yesterday it is .csv, but now it's a .tsv. That is one change. Next, header equal to true if you want. InferSchema equal to true if you want. So separator is now C, tab /t you need to put. So that indicates the tab. Okay. Next, schema equal to schema. As I said yesterday also, today I'm saying once again, this is very, very important keynote tip. So InferSchema equal to true or schema equal to schema. Either one of these options you need to use. Both the options you should not use, because schema equal to schema means explicitly you are mentioning this is the schema for this particular file, for this particular data. So InferSchema equal to true means you are not explicitly mentioning, you are telling Spark, hey Spark, can you read data once again to scan, please scan data once again to identify the data type of each column. Okay, so it is like Spark is going to take more time because it is going to read data once again to identify the data types of each column. That's why this is a performance impact. Next, this is the another syntax, right? As we discussed yesterday, Spark.read.format. Format is CSV only. Option attribute to true. Option first schema equal to true. Option delimiter is C a tab. Schema if you want. Here also same. You either of this option you need to use schema or InferSchema equal to true. Next to load, I want to load. So from which path you want to load? So this particular path, that path is zipcodes.tsv. It should be a .tsv file. Okay, next. Let's go with syntax for reading pipe delimited CSV files. See now, same spark.read.csv. This is the path of the CSV file. The extension for your pipe delimited files is .csv only. Header equal to true, InferSchema equal to true. Separator is now you see pipe. Separator is now pipe. Okay, schema equal to schema. So as I said again, you need to use either of this option, InferSchema equal to true or schema equal to schema. But if you use schema equal to schema, you will get a better performance. Next. Spark.read.format. So it's a CSV, again header equal to true, InferSchema equal to true, option delimiter C, it's a pipe here. Okay, schema here, and load, I want to load the files from this particular path. Here see, the extension is .csv only. It's not a .tsv, it's a CSV only, but delimiter previously tab, now pipe. Okay. Now any questions? I have some questions because I have received some questions from previous batch. Previous batch means morning batch. So I will just answer those questions as well if you are not going to ask those questions, because those even I did not expect those questions, but they have asked good questions. Please let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I will just give you that question and I will answer that question as well. Everybody is clear as of now. Can you confirm quickly chat in chat window, or you can speak out? Only Abhishek responded. Thank you, Abhishek. Respond. Devendra, thank you. Rest of the people, please respond. Okay, so the question they have asked is, now we are saying we are going to mention the schema. Okay, example, I have a customer ID, customer name, customer contact. Okay, so let's say customer ID is going to be integer, customer name is going to be string, customer contact number, it can be big int. So big int means in Spark you need to call it as a long. Now what their question is, CNAME. That CNAME is what? What is the data type of CNAME? CNAME is string. Okay, we know that is string. But by mistake, if I mention integer data type, integer type. Okay, when I am defining my user defined schema, so the CNAME column I'm going to mention integer type instead of mentioning string type. That may be by mistake or something happened. So now what is going to happen to your data? Okay, what happened to your data is, remember, if the data type is convertible, then it will convert, otherwise it will take it as a null. Example, CNAME column, that is the names, cannot be converted into integer. That's why all the column values will appear as a null. Okay, example, I have CID column, that column I will consider as a string. So numbers can be treated as a string. That's why you will get the actual values. Okay, so question and answer both are clear, friends. Please respond, friends, because we are going very slow, but I will continue to go like this. if you respond and give your feedback quickly. Okay, thank you. So you got it right? Right. Okay, friends, thank you. So now, okay, these are the slides which I have. So now we will go and do the demo part. So for that, let me just quickly create Azure Databricks. Okay, so click refresh here. So don't worry, I will not explain all the things how to create Databricks workspace, cluster, all those things. So I will try to finish it quickly than previous sessions, okay? Because it will save our time and we will focus on the actual part that we plan to discuss today. Just click on Azure Databricks, click add. Free trial resource group, let's create here. Cloud Pandit iPhone, you can say Dev iPhone RG. This is with same name or existing selected. Okay. So you can say this is what session 14 iPhone RG. Click OK. So this is Cloud Pandit Azure Databricks Workspace ADB WS. So this is East US. So this I want to launch this particular database in East US standard premium. We know about that. So I don't have my virtual network. I want to launch it in default. We know key value pairs. I'm not giving anything. Click review press create. Okay, I'm not explaining each and everything because you may get bored, right? Because daily I'm explaining same thing. Create it. So meanwhile, I will just show you the data which I have shown yesterday. I don't know how many of you forgot already. So yesterday we have seen these are the CSV files. Okay, so let me just open all the files and show you the difference between all those files. Okay, let me open CSV file 1, CSV file 2. Let's go inside. These are the pipe separated values. Okay, let's go here. Click on tab separated values here. So let's see from here. So it's a comma separated value. So what is the default delimiter? What is the default delimiter, friends? Comma. We know. Okay, see in CSV file 2 also it's a comma. Now when you come to pipe, what is the delimiter here? It's a pipe. Okay, here you can see it's a pipe. Next, when you come to TSV, it's a tab separated. See, tab is nothing but a 4 spaces. Okay, 4 spaces will be there. So something like that you can able to see here. These are the TSV files. Okay, I have created all those things. Now you can see all those things. The TSV file 1 is there. I think TSV file 2 is closed. Let me just open TSV file 2. The TSV file 2 came here. But let me just put it in order. See, this is the TSV file 2. So this is also like tab space. Okay, clear? So these files yesterday, as we know, so I have created a different folders to maintain these particular files. So let's wait for 1 or 2 minutes. Meanwhile, our Azure Databricks will be ready. Then we can create a cluster. We'll start writing the code without waiting for our cluster. Okay. So I thought of doing everything in database community, but maybe you may ask later. So you have practiced everything in database community and you are facing some difficulty in Azure Databricks. But actually that is not the case, friends. Whatever you are writing in database community, same things you are going to do it even in Azure Databricks. But few things are not available in your database community. That is auto scaling and auto termination. You cannot reduce the time, something. Okay, you cannot use pool, all those things. Okay, here you just click launch workspace to open your database workspace, as we know. So as we discussed, there are 2 types of clusters. So this is also interview question, friends. That's why I always try to give you some interview questions when we were discussing the class. So one of the important interview question is, so how many different types of clusters available in Azure Databricks? There are 2 types, as we know. We discussed, right? What are those? Anybody can guess it, friends? What are those? Please respond, friends. What are those? Please speak out. I'm just creating cluster now. You can see here itself. There are two types of clusters. One is all-purpose cluster. This is job cluster. Who is going to create job cluster? Databricks scheduler will create job cluster, and once it creates the cluster, it will execute a given job. Once it executes job, this job cluster will be terminated. You cannot restart this job cluster. But all-purpose cluster, you can multiple people can submit their jobs on same cluster, and you can terminate this cluster. You can restart this cluster. Anything you can do it with this cluster. So let's create a all-purpose cluster. Cluster name is, I'm just giving Cloud Pandit demo, and cluster mode. As we know, standard high concurrency single node. As we know, we are going with a single node, and I'm not using full for now. Databricks runtime, I will go with the latest one, 7.2. As we know, Databricks runtime is nothing but a core components we are installing on our cluster. So terminate after how much time? Suppose if nobody is submitting job on this cluster for about 60 minutes, 60 minutes cluster will keep on running even it is not receiving jobs. But after 60 minutes, if it is not receiving any jobs, immediately it will turn off, like it will terminate. So this is the my node configuration. Under this node, 14 GB memory, 4 cores, 0.75 Databricks units will get. Create cluster. So as we know, for your server and DBU, separate charges will be, you need to make separate charges. Very good option. So all purpose and job list. Okay, fine. So now let's click on workspace. Create here. Create. Let's create a folder. This is, you can say, Cloud Pandit. So in this Cloud Pandit folder, I'm just going to create a notebook. This notebook is basically, you can say, read TSV file. You can say read TSV file, or you can say read TSV file efficiently. Okay, so in which language we are trying to achieve this? In Python. So on which cluster we want to execute this particular notebook? So that cluster will appear. If it is not appearing for now, you just click create. So but it is showing now created. As we know, cluster is not up, doesn't matter. We will try to write the code. Once cluster is up, then we will execute all that code. So as we know, what happens is when cluster is like when you create a new Azure Databricks workspace, what is the base path in our Databricks workspace? So our base path, remember friends, base path is file store. Okay, file store / tables. Okay. So I need to verify what is the content available in this base path. That is dbutils.fs.ls. If you try to use this, you will get to know what is the content you have under this tables. So yesterday, what we have done, we have created a multiple folders. Okay. So how to create a folder? So as we know, how to create a folder, friends, instead of saying ls listing down, I want to make a directory mkdirs. So what is the directory? Under tables, I want to create a tsv file folder, and then I want to create a one more folder called multi tsv file. In tsv file folder, I will maintain a single tsv file. In multi tsv file folder, I will maintain a multiple csv files. So that's how I am going to replicate two scenarios. One is how to read single file, how to read multiple files which you have under a one directory. Next, along with the TSV and the multi-TSV files, we also need to complete whatever time today. So we need to finish pipe files, pipe separated CSV files, pipe delimited CSV files, pipe file, and here you can say multi-pipe file. Okay, so that's why I'm going to create a 4 folders total. So yesterday we have done with the CSV. So today we will try to complete with TSV and a pipe file. Okay, these two scenarios we will try to complete it today. So once I create this folder, so in these respective folders, I'm going to put my files. Okay, so the first case is I want to read my TSV files. Okay, so my single TSV file I will upload into this particular folder. What is this folder? File store tables TSV file. Okay, so don't worry if you're not able to understand, just wait for 1 minute. So our cluster will be up, just attach it. So once our cluster is up, we can able to execute all those things. But we just discussed all DB utils commands, even CLI commands. You can create folders and moving files or exporting files, importing files, all those things. Even you can do it from CLI. See, our cluster is up now. I want to execute. I'm just using shortcuts as we know, shift and enter. I discussed all these notebook options as well. Attaching to cluster. Okay, first command will take some time because just server is warming up now. Just now it is launched, right? So don't worry, it may throw error. Sometimes it will throw error first time. So even for your batch only it has thrown error, right? Even for morning batch also we experience the same thing, but later after just 1 minute, it is able to show you that there is no data in this file store tables. Okay, let's check whether this folder is exist or not. How we will verify? Click data, add data, dbfs, file store, tables. See, there is no content in it. Even you don't have any folders in it. This is the base folder. Now click on recents, read TSV file. So let's execute once again. I'm executing once again. See, now there is no content in it. So that's why it is showing empty list. Now just run all these commands. True, meaning all those folders created. You can see. So you can see all those folders created: multi-pipe file, multi-TSV file, pipe file, TSV file. Let's click on data, add data. So let's select a, see, this is the base folder path. Now I want to select my folder. My folder is, let's select TSV file. Click save. In this TSV file, I want to import my single TSV file. Okay. Let's click here, go back, select. Don't select now. Let's go to multi TSV file. Save it, browse it. Let me just import all multi TSV files. All two files I'm importing into multi TSV folder. Go back, select now pipe file. Pipe file, browse it, come back, go inside, select a pipe file one. Okay, pipe file one.csv came. Now click on dbfs, go back, select multi pipe file, save it, browse it, let's select these two files, open it. Okay, all these are available. Let's verify. Click on dbfs, click on file store, click on tables. See, multi-pipe file will have two files, multi-TSV you have two files, pipe file you have single file, TSV file have single file. Okay. Now I don't want to take all these paths from here. Let's come here, click on this file. So now what you wanted to do is basically when you are reading multiple files, you just have to mention up to this particular path. Okay, up to this particular path. When I want to read a single file, I want to mention my file name. For that, what you need to do is just do something like this. I want to list down the content, meaning the files which I have under TSV file. Let's go with first TSV file. Slash TSV file, execute it now. You see, this is the file which we have under this. So just take this is the actual path to read a single file. Isn't it, friends? So this is source path equal to. So this is how you need to declare a value to variable. This variable you can directly use spark.read. I want to read as a CSV files. That is actually TSV, but I'm saying here CSV function you need to use. Okay, this is going to be DF, and I want to show. Now you see. Now can you tell me? Please respond. Please be active, friends. What is the default header? Header equal to true or false? What is the value for header? What is the default value for your header? Is it a true or false? Good, false. Next, what is the default value for your InferSchema? What is the default delimiter? What is the default delimiter? Please speak out, friends, at least. Abhishek and Netha, please speak out, friends. What is the delimiter? Default delimiter?
The default is CSV.
No, CSV. What is the delimiter? I'm saying.
Sorry, comma. Yeah.
Very good. So the default value here is comma, but when you are reading TSV, what should be the delimiter? What should be the delimiter? It's a tab.
Tab.
Currently, I'm not mentioning anything. What it is going to consider? It is going to consider a comma. So that's why it is not going to show you data properly. See, data is not proper. So everything it is reading as a single column. Okay, so if you want to see all the here whatever data is truncated, all the data, if you want to see inside this function, you can use something called truncate equal to false. Execute it. Okay, you can see player ID, player name, player highest score, number of matches, and you have data, and all this data is considered in a single column. All this data is available in a single column. How you can put how you can bring this data into a proper proper format? So for that, take same code, put it here. You just have to do extra thing is
Malaya,
the,
have a small question. Just sorry to stop you. So,
mm,
if you go up, so you have executed that file list, right? Huh.
mm,
So that time you didn't find anything, but yesterday we have created a CSV file and multi CSV file. So the
mm.
same question I asked long back. So you said this fs.utils will store in Azure Blob Storage. It should come right
Yes,
now.
what it should come.
Yesterday we have created CSV files, right? CSV folders.
See, this is separate Databricks workspace. When you create a separate Databricks workspace, it is going to create a separate blob storage for you.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. Each workspace has a one blob
Yes,
storage,
what?
separate blob storage. Okay, this
Yes,
makes sense.
so
Yeah.
that's what we have seen, right? So in our Azure data, in Azure Databricks architecture, so when you launch a Azure Databricks workspace, it is going to create a storage, a virtual network, security group, network watcher, all those things it is going to create for you. Okay, so whenever you launch new Databricks workspace, immediately it is going to create all those things. When you create a cluster, it is going to launch virtual mission inside Azure portal. In Azure portal itself, you can able to see that. A virtual
Got it.
mission, when you
Yeah.
create a cluster, you will be able to see virtual mission. All those things I have shown you. So it's not a single, like how it knows where you are attaching. So if you think there is a single data blob storage, it is available for all the database workspaces, then you need to mention explicitly whenever you are creating. So, but I am not mentioned anywhere, right? So what it means is whenever you just launch it, it is going to create a different data, like a different blob storages. Okay.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, right. Thank you. Now, so what extra thing I need to do here? The extra thing that I need to do is delimiter. Okay, so we have to say here it's a separator. What is a separator here, friends? Tab /t I will use, and I will execute same. Separator is nothing but a delimiter. See, now it's like data is like little bit okay, but only the problem is I see my headers in a data. My headers are not in proper position. These headers are showing in the data, and I am getting a default headers, that is underscore C0 underscore C1 C2 C3. Now I need to tell explicitly again there are headers in my file. So I will say just put comma here, header equal to 2, and execute it. See, now it's very clean and neat. So you are able to read the data properly. Okay, next thing. So you may have doubt. So he is using separator tab here, next header equal to true. But can I use header equal to true? Then can I use separator equal to /tab? Okay, that is nothing but delimiter. The order of these things is doesn't matter. Okay, you can put header equal to true first, then you can use separator, that is nothing but delimiter later. So this order can be anything. This order you don't need to follow. Okay, clear? Next, I will tell you why this order is not important for you, because this is called a keyword arguments. Okay, keyword arguments means we are explicitly mentioning this is key, this is like this is value, this is the key. So all those things, so you will come to know, okay, in some point in time, like when we discuss Python. Now I just want to understand what is the data type of all this data. So what is the default data type? We know it's a string. It's a by default it's string. But now if I want to automatically import the data type, what I need to use? Put this code here. Here you can say InferSchema equal to true. Okay, I'm just saying, can you read once again this data to identify data type? Now you see the data types has changed: integer, string, integer, integer. Okay, now what I wanted to do, I don't want to use this InferSchema equal to true. As we discussed, it will have some performance issue. So that's why I want to go and create my own schema. So yesterday we created schema. In the same way, we need to create this schema. So how to create schema? S equal to, you just have to tell what are the columns we have. My first column name is player ID. So this is integer type. So next, put comma here. Next, what is the data type? Next column name is player name. It's a string type. Next, player highest score. Player highest score is integer type. Okay, comma here. Next, number.
Malaya,
Yes, yes.
yeah, Malaya, the data type which you are giving is like small letters, capital letters, right? Is it case sensitive or
Yeah, Python is case sensitive. Okay, so remember case sensitive. Okay, so now all these are the column names. Now I need to say these are the structure fields. So each column is called a field. Okay, what this field? This is a structure field. Okay, so now this is one column, this is one field, this is another field, this is another field, this is another field. So all these are items. So this is first column name, this is second column name. So all these things you need to put it inside a list. List is nothing but a square bracket. Okay, square bracket you need to use to create the list in Python. Okay, now this list you need to pass it to create a schema. This list of fields, this list of structure fields, you need to pass it to a function called struct type. Okay, so when you are passing some value to a function, so you just have to put these values inside parentheses. Okay, so let me put all these things in a single line. So this is how you need to create your schema. Now schema is ready, but yesterday we already learned, right? So we need to import these types from PySpark.sql.types and import. So don't use star. If you use star unnecessarily, you are importing all the types. So just so as I said yesterday, if the client is good technical people, they will just raise some bug. Okay, they will report to you saying that this code is not reviewed by your team lead or your architect. Something like that they will comment. Okay, that's why if you are team lead or if you're architect, this is also very important thing. So if your teammate is writing something star, you have to tell them, don't use star. Can you change it to the, or like whatever types you are using, please mention only those types. That's how you need to suggest to them. You need to tell them. You need to teach them. Integer type. So integer type. Next system. So you don't need to type each and everything. Just put your, just write two words and click tab. So it has the intelligence. So with that intelligence, it will show you all the possible values. Okay, starting with the letters which you have typed. Example, I want to understand all the words which we have starting with st, then I'm just clicking tab. Then it will say string type, struct field, struct type. So I want string type, so I will select it. That's all. Okay, this is how we need to create a user defined schema. Okay, now how to attach this schema with our file. When I am reading a file, how can I attach this particular schema? See, very simple, spark.read.csv. Okay, so the file location of the, like example, I'm just, this is my path, this is your path. So you need to say here, this is variable. Variable means you should not put inside a variable, as you inside double quotes. So this is a variable, just to give variable here. Next here you need to say header equal to true. We just mentioned all those things previously. Okay, in the previous tab you can say header equal to true, we mentioned separator equal to slash, we mentioned slash t. Okay, so it's a tab separation, and instead of using InferSchema equal to true, I'm going to say schema equal to s. What is s? Whatever schema we have created, that is assigned to a variable called s. If you use s here, if you reference that here, this entire schema will comments with it. Now just assign this one to df. Just try to read df.show. Execute. Okay, just expand this and see. I'm not using data type, like I'm not using InferSchema equal to true. I'm just saying schema equal to s. Okay, got it, friends? Here clear here. Next, so I have told you one question and I have given the answer for that, right? So I will show you practically that. So just click here. Now let's say for player name, I will just try to use integer type. Okay, now you see what is going to happen now. See, null, 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 because these values you cannot convert into integer, that's why you're getting null. Okay, let me just revert back my change. Here I will mark it as a string type. Okay, execute it. See, it doesn't matter. These values can be converted into string. That's why there is no impact here. But these values you cannot converted into integer. That's why these became a null. Okay. So clear, friends. Practically, I have shown you this particular thing as well. Okay. So all these things we have done for single file. But let's try to do for the multiple file.
Malaya. Can we say this is an example for immutable?
What is immutable? Immutable topic is totally different. Okay, immutable means you are not, suppose example, that is totally different. So I don't want to deviate, but as you asked,
Okay.
let me show you. If you say, whenever you given a value, so you must and should, you need to tell what is the date, like what is the property of this particular variable, whether it's a mutable or immutable, whether it's a mutable or immutable object. So if it is a immutable, then you have to say val. What is immutable? You cannot change the value. What it means? Execute this. Okay, now I will try to change this value. Now I'll just put percentile scalar. So already A is assigned with 10. Now you try to assign with 30. What will happen? It will throw error. It's a immutable. You cannot assign the value. Example, I will change this one from val to var. Var means mutable. You can change. Now you just execute it. Var A equal to 10. Now I will just try to assign another value. That is possible. So this is the mutable or immutable nature. So for the variable or for whatever the class is, so whatever you have defined, those things, if you are able to change it, that is a mutable nature. If you are not able to change the value, then that is a immutable nature. But I will give you like more scenario based things. Okay, when we were discussing about mutable and immutable in real time, when we are going to use mutable and immutable. But this is also very important concept. Okay, so unnecessarily you are going to create a lot of variables and you will leave them blank, like you will just leave them like that. So what happens is your garbage collector will come and destroy all those things. So there is a big concept behind that. So we will discuss. Okay, I don't want to deviate right now. Okay, clear. So it's not a mutable or immutable nature. That topic is totally different from this. Okay. Now let's go with multiple files. See here, I'm just mentioning single file as of now. So single file everywhere. But now if you go up, we have a multiple TSV files in this folder. So what is that folder? File store / table / multi TSV file. Select this folder, come down, you can put that here. So here you can say my source path equal to this one. Okay, so I want to read spark.read.csv, and I'm just going to mention a source path. Okay, this is df, and I'm saying df.show. Okay, now you need to understand here multi TSV file. See, if you look at this particular path and previous path which I have taken, here I have mentioned which file to read, but here I am not mentioning a file, single file, because I want to read all the files which I have in this particular folder. That's why I'm just mentioning the folder name here instead of mentioning single file name. Okay, everybody got it? So let's try to read this. But if you look at this data, see, this is your file 1, this is your file 2. You are able to read 2 files, but it's not a proper format. So for that, what we need to do next? Please answer, friends. What we need to do to get the data in a proper format? What I need to do? What extra parameter I need to use here? Tell me. You need to guess it now. Okay, only Abhishek and Netra is responding. Other people
Separator header.
Okay, very good. So we need to say here operator equal to tab. I can understand, friends. So you have children, so that sound will come. So that's why you're not speaking, but you try to speak, okay, at least sometime. No issue if background noise or something, okay. So fine. See here, source path is this, and when I'm reading multiple files, I know clearly all the files which I have under this directory, all those files are tab separated. That's why I'm just using tab here. Let's try to read the data now, how it will look like. See, the data is very well, like proper, okay, proper format. But only the problem I see is, so like first file column names are showing here, second file column names also showing here. Okay, now you see, if I say header equal to true, what will happen is, so from first file it will consider first row is header. Okay, meaning this will consider as header. From second file also it will consider first row is header. So when you are reading multiple files, so from each and every single file, the first row it will treat it as a header. Maybe there will be an issue if you get some file, something like this. One file is having headers, another file is not having headers, there will be a problem. Okay, that's why you should have a columns in all the files. Okay, all the files which are loading in the future or whatever. So all the files should have a columns, or all the files should not have a columns. Okay, see, df equals spark.read.csv. So from this path now I'm going to say header equal to true and execute it. Okay, you see here I'm getting all the like 10 records. Only the problem here I see is it's not in a proper order. So yesterday I shown you how you can arrange these things. So how to arrange these things in a proper order, and how to add extra columns, renaming columns, and how to write logics, different functions which we have in Spark. All those things we will discuss in upcoming sessions. Now let's come down, click on plus. Okay. So now again, do you want to use InferSchema equal to true? That is okay. You can use. See, if you go up, check it here. What is the data type? By default, all the columns data type is string. So if you want to say InferSchema equal to true, you just have to say here InferSchema equal to true. Execute it. Let's see what is the data type of all this. See, integer, string, integer, integer. So I don't want to use InferSchema equal to true. I want to use a user defined schema. What you need to do, friends? Again, you need to create a schema. Okay, so we already created schema, same schema will work here, right? So that's why I will go and bring that schema, come here and take these two lines. So these are the two lines which we are creating a user defined schema, so that we can put it here. Okay, oh sorry, I kept it somewhere else. So here, so I am just quitting my info, like this user defined schema. You can see player ID, player name, player highest score. Here I am using string type, but what you can do, as this is scenario we have verified, but the actual type is integer type. Okay, integer type, it's a string type, this is integer type, this is integer type. Okay, so now instead of using InferSchema equal true, what you need to use, just a minute, schema equal to yes. Okay, let's check it. Okay, just check the data, like player ID, integer, string, integer, integer. Okay, clear friends. Okay, so this is all about your TSV. So when you are reading a TSV files, if you want to read TSV files efficiently, what you need to do, you need to mention your schema explicitly. You need to write a user defined schema. Okay, so shall I start with our pipe delimited CSV files now? Okay, just 5-10 minutes, not more than that, because we are already here. So we know already we were working with CSV and TSV, and this pipeline delimited files also you can able to finish it quickly. But only thing is, if I want to read single file, I need to get that single file location. Okay, for that, we just put something like this. So this is pipe file. In this, I have a file name. So in this folder, I want to see what is the content I have in this pipe. So this is the file. I have pipeline file 1.csv. This is my single file. Okay. I will just take this particular path and come down. Here I will say source path equal to, and put it here. And then I have to say spark.read.csv, and they just give this source path here. Okay. This is df. Let's try to display this data. Now this data also will not come in a proper format. So some data is, see, some data is truncated. Let me show you here. Truncate equal to false. Sorry, spelling mistake. Truncate equal to false. Now you see all this data, it is considering as a single column. That's why underscore C0 came. What is the reason behind that? So the default delimiter is comma, so but the delimiter here is pipe. So you need to override the delimiter option. So how you will override that? From here. So I am not mentioning. So you need to mention that explicitly, saying that separator is now pipe. Just execute this. See, the data is proper, only the problem is headers is showing in the data. I need to like set the headers properly. How to set the headers properly? Just use header equal to true here. Header equal to, execute it. Okay, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, something like this. So you can see headers are proper. Now again, let's check it here. So player ID string, everything is coming as a string. Now I want to get the proper data type. So I hope in real time you will not confuse. We'll be able to do it everything in the schema equal to true, I believe, and execute it. See, now the data types, you'll get it integer, string, integer, integer. Okay, now even when I'm reading pipeline delimited CSV files, I don't want to use InferSchema equal to true. So wherever you use InferSchema equal to true, the property, the functionality is same. So it will read the data once again. So it will be a problem. That's why instead of using InferSchema equal to true, I want to use schema equal to, I will say yes. But what is the S? Okay, schema. that schema we created here, same schema, because same columns I have even in my pipeline file. Okay, so that's why I just put, see this particular headers like this user defined schema. I'm just trying to mention it here. Sorry, I mentioned it wrong place. Come down here, I want to mention. Okay, so here you can see schema equal to S I'm mentioning. Now you just set df dot show equal to false. Now if you check the data types, you see integer, string, integer, integer. Okay, clear. Now for multiple files, we will quickly do it in next 5 minutes. But as of now, anybody have any doubt or any confusion? Please respond, friends. At least
Well,
if you're
it's
not
fine.
able to on chat, tell me, Manohar.
Well, can we stop today? Like I need to go some, like I need to drop my family to travel.
Okay, sure. So you just try with multiple files which have in the directory. Okay. Next thing is don't worry, Manohar, because I'm going to share with you recording if you miss anything. Okay, just I will discuss with that particular folder. Okay, folder files. But if you miss it, you can go through the recording tomorrow. Okay, just 5 more minutes session, because tomorrow we need to understand the difference between all these things and the different file formats. Okay, we are already going slow. Yeah, like for this, only for this particular topic, if I stop, it will be around. Okay, just 5 more minutes. If you if you are really some work you have to deliver immediately, just you can leave the meeting, so I will share the recording. Okay, don't worry about that. But you already understood, right, how to read multiple pipeline delimited CSV files, right? So you can able to do same thing, but I just wanted to deliver it. If you have any confusion, you can just watch this particular video once again. So here, in which folder I have multiple files, so in this folder. So I don't need to select a particular file, so I need to read this particular entire path, like entire directory I need to read. So for that, just mention here, so nothing, just 2 more minutes only. Source path equal to this one. Okay, so I'm going to say spark.read.csv. Just mention here source path df equal to, and you can say df.show. Execute it. So there will be a problem. What is the problem here? Spark, it's okay. Execute it now. See, all these two columns data is showing in a single column. So you just use truncate equal to false. Execute it. See, all these columns are showing in a single column. So what is the problem here? So you just have to use the delimiter. So I'll just use the delimiter. Just put here separator equal to 5. Execute it now. You see the different. See, now data is proper, but only we need to set the headers. How you will set the headers? Come down, click here. Just you can say header equal to true and execute it. Now headers are set it properly. Now what is the data type of all these things? String. So how you will get the proper data types? There are two ways. InferSchema equal to true. So InferSchema equal to true I can use. If I use InferSchema equal to true, there will be a problem, because it is going to be data once again, you will have a performance issues. So that's why you need to avoid reading InferSchema equal to true. You need to avoid using InferSchema equal to true. Instead of that, I need to use the schema explicitly. How to use the schema explicitly? Instead of using InferSchema equal to true, I need to use schema equal to yes. What is that yes? I will get the schema. I will just define schema explicitly, but already I defined the schema explicitly. So this is the schema. You can get this here. Okay, just try to put it here. Now you just read it. Okay, the data types here you can see integer, string, integer, integer. Okay, clear. Yeah, that you can do it, Abhishek. So that is very, very important thing. So as part of our Databricks project, we will see all those things. But before the project also, I will cover that, because in real time, really, this is very, very important point. Okay. Yeah. So we will see. Okay. Don't worry. So you will see this. Very, very good point, because this is, if you like, if you deliver this particular, like whatever question you have asked, right? So if you find the solution for that, you will improve the performance, because you are like avoiding the lot of things which is not required. You are just leaving them and you are just picking the only required data. Okay. So don't worry, all those things we will see. Okay. But any questions with respect to today's session, friends? Okay, well, looks like everybody's good. Thank you all. Thank you. We'll meet tomorrow.